What is up, everybody? Appreciate you for tuning in to another edition of Passion and Precision with myself and Jory. It's a show where we just go back and forth, talk about a lot of the biggest topics in the sports world. You get a rant or two from Jory, which, if you follow her over Jory Sports Stories, you know what she brings to the table. Um, so we're going to talk about post-Olympic WNBA, kind of like the landscape in the league. We'll have a nice discussion about that, and then we're going to get into kind of the next part of our NFL preseason preview. We've gone through the divisions and everything. Now, today, we're going to talk about playoff teams. Jory and myself will give our predictions for the 7 playoff teams in the AFC and the NFC. But before we even get into anything, I got to ask, Jory, how are you doing tonight?
I'm doing all right. Can't complain too much. How about yourself?
I'm good. It's Sunday. I watched a little WNBA. I've been chilling, so I can't complain either. But I have been looking forward to talking to you about what we have going on today. So let's go ahead and jump in to our topic. Here we go. So the WNBA had their Olympic break. It was a pretty long break, but you saw most of the stars over with Team USA and everything. So uh, it was a break, but you still got to see the people you wanted to see. But now that the league is picked back up, it's like I said, the Olympic break, got the news about the new media deal. Obviously, most of this season, a lot of talk's been about Caitlin Clark, Angel Reese, a lot of the teams going on. So WNBA is definitely part of sports talk.
Mm-hmm.
But now with kind of the push for the playoffs, I feel like what are some storylines or some things within the league that you're looking forward to in now the post Olympic push?
All of a sudden, homegirl from Indiana knows how to coach. Like, what?
Yeah, I noticed that too. Kind of weird.
Why haven't you done this all year? All of a sudden, you finally stop freezing out Boston. You
Mm-hmm.
realize that when they're both on the court, you can play a more balanced offense and defense. Because Caitlin Clark do play defense. I might have gotten on her a little bit, but she does play. She tries. But like what and the Aces, when I was looking at the standings, I'm like the Aces might get the third or fourth playoff spot, but I feel like they'll be fine.
Okay.
And then what else did I notice? Indiana's creeping back up on the 500. So if they could finish at 500, which will be a miracle for them, I'll be proud. The Sky are also looking pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
We finally got both Cardoso and Angel Reese getting a double double in the same game. I've been waiting on her to turn it on all season as well. She continues to play like this. We know what she can do. They're creeping back to 500. But as far as the playoffs are concerned, I know who won't be in it. Um, the Sparks, the Dream, those, yeah. But the Liberty and the Aces should be favored, seeing how they just matched up. But I like what I've been seeing so far from the WNBA after the Olympics. I thought it was gonna be a little messy. Now the Sky
Mm-hmm.
did have to they had to knock the rust off one game, and then they got back in business the next game. But that's typical.
Right.
After having 2.5, 3 weeks off.
Right. And especially when you're dealing with players who may not have had the opportunity to go over to Paris to play, for a national team. Like the break for them has been like a legit break. At least for
Mm-hmm.
Asia Wilson and Stewie and those players, like they were still playing over there. So they kept their competitive juices going, and they should have. Like, I'm not surprised that a lot of them have come back from the break and still look good. But I do agree with you. Like the league is in a very good spot. I mean, I know like you and I have talked about kind of the exhausting nature of the Angel Reese Caitlin Clark debate,
I
but
stay off of Twitter after Fever games. I can't do it.
I completely agree with you. I understand that. Because look, they played today. They got another good win over Seattle, and you can probably guess like what a lot of the posts are all about. Caitlin Clark is the greatest, and Caitlin Clark this and that. Well, sure, whatever. Um, but I mean, look, that kind of discussion, the star power that's there, obviously benefits the league, especially going into this 11-year deal where it seems like the WNBA will be more accessible. Still haven't like really looked into the deal as much to see like where the WNBA fits in, because I think it's going to be like Amazon will take a lot of the games. I believe ESPN Plus will get games as well. So they should be like more in your face. Um, I do agree with the teams that will make the playoffs. Look, I've seen a couple of Sparks games, and yeah, they just aren't good enough. I am kind of surprised. Like, if you look at the Dreams roster, you feel
Yeah,
like they should be better than what they are.
they should be, but I don't like their coach.
Yeah, she was on the Olympic staff, I believe. I believe
I
I
still
saw
don't
her
like.
there. Yeah, I mean they did get a win today over Connecticut, but I mean we'll have to see, does that actually carry into anything, or did they just catch Connecticut on an off day and they go back to their losing ways? Because you can't tell me you got Alicia Gray, you got Ryan Howard, you got even Tina Charles at her advanced stage in her career. How you are as bad as you are, I'll never understand. But I do agree with the teams that are kind of out of it now will probably miss the playoffs. I think the 8 that we have in playoff position will probably be the teams that do make it. I'm trying to see what my
Watch for
storyline was.
Minnesota.
Go ahead.
I'm like, what? Just watch
Watch
for
for who?
Minnesota. I like how they've been playing as well. The Lynx.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, look, Collier's been in discussions, and actually one of my storylines was the MVP race, because I do think it's kind of a two-woman race between Asia Wilson and Breonna Stewart. But I do think there are some other like interesting names that should be part of the conversation. And looking at Minnesota, Nafisa Collier is having a really good season. She's a double-double uh, player, 20 points, 10 rebounds a game. She's giving you like 4 assists. She's not necessarily like, I mean, she's like 47% from the field, 32% from three. So that shows you kind of her offensive versatility. So I feel like she's somebody who's going to be interesting to watch as we go down the stretch here, to see if maybe she can move up the MVP ladder. Although I do think the gap between Wilson and Stewie and the rest of these players is probably too vast in order to make up now. But she could be somebody who wins a future one. So this time might be important, like for you to like check her out and see like she's a really good player. 2 other names I had were like Kalia Copper. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
she's averaging 23 points a game. I think 5 and 2, but she's a scorer. 46 from the field, 81 at the line, 34 from three. I might have went homer with my 5th name. I got Alyssa Thomas, triple double threat. The shooting, the shooting splits aren't there because she's not really much of a perimeter player at all. I mean, the shoulder injuries and all that probably have something to do with it, but she does shoot 52% from the field. She initiates a lot of offense for Connecticut. They are a top team in the league. So I think right now I would have Asia Wilson probably as my leader in the clubhouse, but I think Breonna Stewart is right there on her heels. I mean, I don't know, do you agree with kind of the 5 people I have? You have somebody else you might want to shout out?
I pretty much agree. Pretty much agree because all the other team. Well, yeah, those are the 5. Pretty much the same 5 that really stood out to me as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I
The
mean, I know
one I
like
am
a
kind
good.
of
Oh, go ahead.
conflicted is gonna be Rookie of the Year.
Yes, that was another storyline I had, because all the talk the whole time about the 2 of them is just going to continue until one of them is handed the award, or the dreadful scenario that I feel like some people have thrown out there as kind of a joke. If they go with the Rookie of the Year, which I'm not a fan of, especially in this case, because it would almost come across like they're trying to appease both camps. But if you did
Uh-uh.
look at the race, like how would you rate it right now? Who would you have leading the way currently?
Angel by a nudge.
Okay,
Simply because we've had stretches of Clark not playing well at the beginning and even going into the break where she wasn't playing well. We can't act like that didn't happen.
sure.
Sorry to the Clark camp. Like, I'm not gonna sit here and pretend like that didn't happen.
Mm-hmm.
Angel made history with the double streak and she's starting another one. So I'm like, she's done it a little bit more longer and more consistent to make a case. But I wouldn't be surprised if Clark did get it, but I feel like it should go to Angel.
Yeah, the weird thing is, it's almost like Angel Reese's double streak. Like nobody cares anymore. I don't like. She still gets her double doubles. Obviously, not the consecutive streak did end, but now I see, and it is kind of a problem. A lot of people are pointing to her field goal percentage, and I have a feeling that's something that's probably going to work against her in
Mm-hmm.
the end, and especially with Indiana if they stay above them in the standings, and Indiana seems like they're surging right now. I feel like it's probably going to end up going to Caitlin Clark. And look, I'm not mad at that in any way because, like you said when you talked about them earlier, they're playing well. The coach or even if it's just like Caitlin Clark becoming more experienced with the WNBA game or whatever, it seems like she's playing really well, which obviously makes the coach look better. And like I said, Aaliyah Boston, all those Nalissa Smith who get involved, was it Kelsey Mitchell, who I do think might actually be the most important one on the team
They
because of her.
keep her. She gone
Oh, she gone?
after. She's gonna leave after this year. She's probably gonna leave.
I got you. I got you. I thought you were saying like she was gone. I was like, snap. I was like, I must have slipped into some extra dimension that I forgot all about that. But yeah, like her ability to score for them, I feel like is something that has really benefited them as well. Because early in the year, it was like, oh, Caitlin Clark has to do all the scoring and everything. And she struggled with it. Then when she kind of became more of a facilitator, what a shock, they started playing better, which is kind of like the gripe that you and I have with the coach, how she couldn't figure that out earlier on. But look, that they're there now. They look like they're going to be a playoff team. And then my last storyline was one you also touched on was the Aces. You know, they're currently in the middle of the pack. I think because of their pedigree, they don't necessarily need to be a top team to be a threat in the playoffs. So I kind of think like you, if they're like 3 or 4, they're still probably going to be the favorite going into the playoffs to possibly win it again. Yeah, so I mean, those are kind of the storylines I had. I mean, was there anything else on the W that you wanted to talk about, or any other players or whatever?
Mm, I did want to mention that Chelsea Gray is starting to get it together. You know,
Mm-hmm.
she missed half the season and then literally played. She played in the Olympics, so she's starting to get back into her rhythm. So that'll probably they'll integrate the Aces will be better. Period.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I feel like that is probably the dangerous part about their team is early on when Gray was missing, everybody was like, yeah, they don't look right because Chelsea Gray's been missing. She came back, struggled a little bit, but yeah, she really does pick it up and gets back to the player that we know she can be. Yeah, that just makes a stronger case for the Aces to win another title. But yeah, I mean, look, the league is definitely in a good spot. The basketball's there. It's getting very competitive and everything. So we definitely will talk about it more uh, probably next week and probably here on out till we get to the playoffs.
Mm-hmm.
But now let's go ahead and get into NFL playoffs because, like I said, we went through all the divisions. So if you missed any of that, you can check out like a previous episode on here after this one, of course, because you don't want to miss this talk as well. So tonight we're going to take a look at Jory and myself, our playoff predictions. We're going to look at obviously who we have winning each division, who do we have as the three wildcard teams in the AFC and the NFC, which I think the wildcard part of it might be the most interesting. I mean, I don't want to put words in your mouth, but I felt like when I was looking at the division winners, outside of maybe one or two divisions, I feel like I have a good idea who will win them. But
The others are pretty much open books.
yes. So I feel like we'll start with the NFC. So I'll let you go first. Give us your NFC division winners.
I feel like Philly's going to win the NFC East.
Okay.
The 49ers are going to win the NFC West.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm right about that. NFC West.
Mm-hmm.
Detroit's going to win the NFC North. Now, the South Division is a little complicated.
Mm-hmm.
Because I'm like, theoretically speaking, the Falcons should win it. But
Yeah.
I know that the things that the Falcons should do, they don't do. So I'm
Very
like,
true.
and Tampa could go in on a little run, even though I feel like their schedule's not set up for that. They could though, but as good as Baker Mayfield is, he can throw you out of a game as well. But I'm gonna stick to my guns and say the Falcons should win the NFC South. I have them winning the NFC South.
Okay. I actually have the same four divisional winners. So I guess I'll throw a question at you since we do agree. I guess the Falcons would be the one divisional winner that you have the least confidence in, I would say, out of the four. But looking at the four of them as well, would you have the Eagles as the number one overall? Then I think you went Eagles, Niners. Okay, so that's the next part. How would you have them rated 1 to 4 in terms of playoff seeding?
Depending on what the 49ers come out looking at, I have them first.
Okay.
Detroit second. Philly third.
Okay. Okay. Like I said, I'm writing these down. Because I mean, look, we usually mention at the end, but like Jory and I do have a blog for the podcast. So I will put our brackets out there for you after the show that you can see them and I guess agree or disagree with one of us. So we got Honey Badger, what's going on? I think you are new to the show. Don't think I've seen that name before. Cowboys and Packers or Cowboys and Seahawks in the wild card. Okay. So keep that in mind as we get to our wild card picks here in a little bit. Trying to see if I have another question for you for the divisional winners. But 49ers, Lions, the Eagles, Falcons. Okay. All right, so let's go ahead. I guess NFC wildcard teams. Do you agree? Oh, it's Anthony. What's going on, Anthony? Right, so I guess you changed your name. All right. Yeah, so who are your three wildcard teams?
Packers. Rams.
Okay.
And I really feel like this will be the year that the Cowboys don't make the playoffs.
Okay.
And I'm not saying that just because I hate the Cowboys, because they do too much and their owner is just insufferable and refuses to do things at the right time. Like, he refuses to pay people when they're available, and then you wait and you wait and you wait, and then, oh, it comes back to bite you in the butt a few years. Well, duh.
Right.
Anyway, I have the Packers, Rams. Is it 2 wild card teams or is it 3?
It's 3.
I feel like the Buccaneers might be able to. I feel like the Seahawks might be able to sneak into there. Sneaky feeling,
Okay.
but
You got
I
Packers, Rams, Seahawks.
no. They have a rookie head coach. I can't even put my faith into that one. Just thought about
Okay.
that. Dallas will get the third one, and they'll be one and done in the playoffs. How about that? Razzle dazzle.
Okay. I mean, look, that's interesting. I can say that we agree on two of the three. Packers and Cowboys, I do agree with that. I was tempted to keep the Cowboys out, but then I couldn't really think of a team to replace them with because I do think there are some interesting teams that maybe next year could make a push. I just don't know if I could go with them this year. And my third team, look, it might be. I don't know. I feel like some people will be on board with it. I don't know how you will feel about it. So once I say I'm paying attention to how you react to it, the more I think about this, I have this weird feeling the Bears are the third wildcard team. And I
You
think
trying
that
to make
because
Chicago go up? My lord.
it's because the weird thing is I thought about the Seahawks, but then I kind of thought like you, it might take McDonald a year or two to kind of get them where he wants them. I thought about the Rams, but I was like, the Aaron Donald, first year after retirement, how much of a void does that leave? I understand that Stafford is really good on the offensive side of the ball, but he's also getting up there. And I still worry about him with like that neck fusion surgery and all that. So I don't know if I want to put my faith in them. Then it's like the Vikings, I know are going to struggle, especially now with the JJ McCarthy news. The Commanders, like I want to believe in the Commanders, but I feel like this wouldn't be the year for them either. So it was almost like the Bears were like the last team sitting there. And I was like, defensively, I think they're okay. I'm a big Keenan Allen fan. So I feel like that has to have some net positive on Caleb Williams. And I just feel like that some random way they're going to find themselves in as a third wild card. Because I have the Packers, Cowboys, then the Bears. So, I mean, Anthony did ask three teams in the NFC West in the playoffs. So neither of us agree with that. I wonder if three teams.
Yeah, I had to really think.
I guess he was probably thinking like Niners, Seahawks, and Rams. I doubt
Rams.
he's thinking Cardinals. Yeah.
The Cardinals don't count.
Yeah. Okay. So we
Even though
differ
they
there.
could mess up somebody's playoff position, I would not count them out for that. Messing up somebody's position.
Right. I agree with that too. Because Marvin Harrison, you figure will get better as the year goes on. The only thing that you worry about with the Cardinals is Kyler Murray. Like, is he dedicated? Is he going to make the right play? Because he does have that, backyard football mentality that sometimes gets him in trouble, while other times is kind of what he needs to do.
Can he
But
stay on
they're
the
another
field?
right. There's like so many questions about them. The NFC, I don't know, it's weird. Like I could see even, like I said, the Commanders. If the Commanders somehow were the third wildcard team, I'd probably be like, okay, maybe Jaden Daniels went off, and Terry McLaurin, those guys, maybe. But I have a weird feeling the Bears do it. As somebody
I
like
just know
Justin
who
Fields, I
making
kind
the
of feel bad for.
once I figure out who won't be making the playoffs, it's easy. No
Right.
Giants, um, no Panthers,
Mm-hmm.
no
Those
Vikings,
Saints.
no Saints,
Yeah.
because they don't like their quarterback situation. Like
Right.
Saints fans do not like Derek Carr. Do not let them fool you. They hate that man. And the second he start throwing picks, they're gonna be rooting for Rattler. I promise you.
Mm-hmm.
I know how they
I
get
agree.
down.
I think there's a very good chance Rattler probably does finish the season as a Saints quarterback. It's now just a matter of when does he get his first start.
Because they actually like Rattler for right now.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm like,
And
they don't
Rattler,
like Like they can't stand Derek Carr. They don't know why the Saints went and got Derek Carr. Talking to Saints fans, and I do that a lot. So I'm like, they can't stand that man, and they were like, that man was a waste of a contract, just burning through money that they didn't have to spend.
Well, I was trying to think when they went out and got him, their quarterback situation was.
Jameis Winston and Taysom Hill.
I mean, that's kind of your answer why you went out. Look, Jameis Winston, great quarterback at Florida State. It just never converted over to NFL success, whether it was the vision stuff, which still baffles my mind. He went that far into his career before getting the LASIK surgery. And Taysom Hill, I have never bought into Taysom Hill as a quarterback. I get when they use him like a player too, but like I think Dennis Allen or something, when they needed a quarterback, went through a couple of weeks where they threw Taysom Hill back there. I think they won like a game against the Falcons, but it was the Falcons at that point. But when he's back there, I'm like, I'm playing the run. That dude, he has a good arm, but in terms of like throwing receivers open and stuff like that, I'd never buy him back there. So I can see why they don't like Carr now, but when they got him, I understood why they went and got him. I thought Carr was kind of a underrated quarterback with the Raiders, but yeah, now he's kind of damaged goods. All right, so
Anthony's on the show.
Anthony's coming up with
On
his
the show.
AFC playoff teams. He's got the Dolphins, Chiefs, Bengals, Texans, then Ravens, Bills, Jets. Look, Anthony, you out here trying to get into that hater club with us, putting the Ravens as a wild card team. Like you already know, you have to make them the number one seed and everything like that to appease Ravens fans. But we'll
And I'm
see
not
if
doing
either
that
of
either.
us are. I mean, look, there's one thing that people who watch this will understand. Jory and I are not afraid of the Raven smoke. We please, we welcome it. But so looking at Anthony's list, we'll see if either one of us agree with it or matches. So I'll let you go first as well. Your AFC division winners.
I have the Chiefs repeating as AFC West champions.
Okay.
I'm going to make this very clear. This is Miami's best chance to clinch the AFC East. If they
Okay.
don't do it this year, they're not going to do it.
Okay.
So I do have them taking that division. Houston repeats as AFC South champions. I am the resident Titans fan, but I can be very realistic and optimistic about my team at the same time.
Mhm.
I'm not what the Ravens fans are, which are delusional and act like their team is the best thing since sliced bread, when in reality they're extremely overrated. That's neither here nor there. Um, I feel like a healthy version of the Bengals should reclaim the AFC North, and I feel like they'll stay healthier this year. So I feel like since he's gonna reclaim their spot, when we go straight into my wild card.
No, we'll do it the same way. We'll break it up.
Okay.
All right. So you have Chiefs, Dolphins, Texans, Bengals. Chiefs, Dolphins. Okay, we agree on 3 of the 4. So I will say this: I did pick the Ravens to win the AFC North, but I kind of have like a sick, twisted reason for it. I have gotten
You're
to the
jinxing.
point. On what?
You're jinxing them. That's what it is.
Maybe a little bit, but I have gotten to the point where every year I look at the Ravens like the Yankees. Yankees fans love celebrating regular season success. Then they get to the playoffs, they become quiet and they become heartbroken. I like some of the players on the Ravens team, but in general, I just love seeing them turn into like Cowboys fans when they lose in the playoffs, and it's like every excuse under the sun. So that's part of the reason why. Another one is, go ahead.
It was Taylor Swift's fault.
That one got me. Like once I heard that one, I was like, yeah, this is a broken fan base. They're gone. if you're gonna blame somebody who sits up in a box, doesn't do anything on the field as the reason why you lost, you're a broken fan base at that point. That was the most hilarious thing to me. Like they loved it because remember before that, the conspiracy was, oh look at the colors in the logo. That means the Ravens are going in. Ravens fans didn't have any problem with that conspiracy. They loved that one. But then they lose. It's like, oh, the NFL wants the money from Taylor Swift. The NFL prints money. Like they don't need Taylor Swift money. So whatever. I'm sure it may come back up again this year at some point. You know, especially opening week. If they lose, it's probably going to be Taylor Swift's fault again, which I'll be there to laugh at them. Now, one reason why I didn't pick the Bengals to win it, I am a little worried about the fact that Chase wants a new deal, isn't practicing. They've already lost Boyd because of a contract dispute, and Higgins isn't happy with his contract. I just worry that that could be something that, I don't know, maybe early in the season could become an issue. They might drop a few games early on, and then maybe they turn it on, but maybe they just don't have enough time to catch the Ravens. So that's why I didn't have the Bengals as winning it, but I would love to see the Bengals win the division because I do think the Bengals are a better team. It's just that it seems kind of weird what's going on around them where they lost Mixon last year already, even though we thought like they were sacrificing Mixon to sign Higgins and Chase. I thought Higgins, Chase, and Boyd were never going to stay there together, but I thought two of the three would, and I did think it was going to be Chase and Higgins. Yes, Higgins is on the franchise tag, but he's like reluctantly on the franchise tag, which is not a good space to be as a player.
He's going to be gone next year. He's not going to be. This is his last year as a Bengal. That's what we know.
Right. At least that's the way it looks, but things can change. I mean, maybe Cincinnati changes their course and offers him a deal that makes him happy. But even if that's the case, then what's the holdup with Chase then? Like, go ahead and I know Chase because I think he has like 2 years on his deal and he's trying to get more money now. But like I could see if you locked up Chase and you let Higgins walk, then I'm like, okay, you kept the star receiver. You unfortunately had to let the other two go, and you can kind of rebuild your wide receiver position around Chase. But like if they ended up losing all three, Bengals fans, like, yeah, you might have to pick it outside the stadium to get that owner out of there. Like that's crazy to me that it's gotten to this point.
But this is what the Bengals get for being cheap. This is exactly what they're being notoriously cheap.
But it's like they had reasons to be cheap before because they weren't that good. But now it's like you got a star quarterback. You haven't had a quarterback like this since Carson Palmer, which unfortunately Carson Palmer had the knee injury, and that kind of took away from him. But you got Joe Burrow, and you had legit wide receivers in a pass-happy league. I feel like when he said, like, we're going to focus on the receiver position and Joe Burrow and keeping it all together, I was like, okay, that makes perfect sense. Because, Anthony, they let Mixon go. But it's like teams have shown you don't overextend yourself for running backs. You can pick up running backs every year in the draft and be perfectly okay. So I understood that part of it. But now the not signing any of these receivers part doesn't make sense when looking at letting Mixon just walk. But like I said, this is kind of Bengals being the Bengals. So it is what it is with them. Like I said, I did agree with the Texans. I think that they are the best team in that division right now. And the Dolphins, look, the AFC East was the division when I said in the beginning that there was one that really had me thinking about it. It was the AFC East. Because I feel like the Dolphins on paper probably had the best team, but I just don't like the way they ended last year. Their coach annoys me a little more by the day. And
you tired of him too?
I mean, I was a little bit last year when, they were winning and like at halftime, he would do like the sprint into the locker room. The camera would always show him sprinting. And I was like, if they weren't winning, that'd be kind of corny of him. But, enjoy it while you can. And then the way the season ended, I was like, yeah, all that sprinting for you to show up like that in the playoffs. So I mean, look, and Tua got his money. I root for Tua, especially after the way they sent him out there when they shouldn't have, and all the injuries he had, the concussions and everything like that. Like I would like for him to do well, even as a Patriots fan, but I just didn't know looking at that division who to go with. Now, Anthony does bring up if the Bills win the division, give Josh Allen MVP.
Oh no, don't do that. I can't live with that.
I mean, there are worse players to give an MVP to and really be like, oh no, here we go. I feel like Josh Allen, if he got it, sure. But I just don't know what to make of the Bills this year.
Mm-mm.
Because no Steph Diggs, who Josh Allen likes to throw to.
They just
Although
lost
they,
Milano
yeah.
year.
Yeah. And it's like, will Josh Allen try to do too much? And we've seen when he thinks he has to do too much, that's when he has the brain farts with the interceptions that are glorified like punts down the field when they're unnecessary. I'm hoping they rely on the running game a bit more this year, because if they can do that, okay, I can think of the Bills a little bit more seriously. So, process of elimination, I went with the Dolphins. Anthony says he did it with nobody. Right, that's what I'm saying. Like, he had players he could have trusted last year, and he always felt like he had to do everything. I don't know, somebody in that building can get through to him like, it's okay to throw a check down. It won't hurt you. You don't have to force it into triple coverage.
The arm punts
For the
have
fun
got
of
to
it.
stop.
Yes. And especially now with no Diggs, like, you have to take care of the ball. That's just plain and simple.
Actually,
He's not.
like keep
Yeah.
the arm punts going because you'll prove my point that he's overrated. I'm already there with him.
Yeah. I think some people are. I don't even know where I have Josh Allen anymore, so I can't even say if he's overrated or not. I just have to think about where I'd even put him. Like, I've been disappointed in him, and then he'll make a player like, oh, the potential's there. No Diggs or Davis. I mean, Gabe Davis. Nobody. I mean, yes, Gabe Davis in Buffalo, yes, was a big part of it. So I'll give Gabe Davis that. He does have two good tight ends. So I'm assuming that's how Buffalo's going to try to make their way down the field with Kincaid and Knox. I just need to see it from Buffalo this year. And then the Jets are the Jets. Whatever. We can move on. I don't even want to get into the Jets right now. Really? Okay, so here we go. Anthony says he's a top 5 quarterback. How do you feel about that?
No. Like simple. No.
So what if I said?
Before I just say
he's a
no.
top 5 talent? Would you agree with that?
No.
Okay.
Let me just name off 5 quarterbacks who I think are really top tier. Mahomes, Burrow.
Well, I think your audio went on the third name.
I said Mahomes, Burrow. Because I really think, in all honesty, Mahomes, Burrow, talent wise, like arm talent wise, I think Herbert could be a little bit better than him. Um, what's his face? Care of the football. In tight moments,
Mm-hmm.
I've seen, yeah, and I'm willing to scrap about that one. I really don't care who disagrees. Um, but I think Stroud is better than him already.
Right.
So yeah, Josh Allen is not a top 5 quarterback in my eyes. 6. He's top 10.
Okay. Obviously, Anthony can agree to because Anthony does say, like he said, top 5, but I mean, Dre has him as 6. So not too far out of the top 5. Herbert, I do think Herbert
He got to
should
show
be.
it for real.
Yeah, he should be
Just stay
better than
healthy.
he is, but a lot of that was like, oh, he had Staley. Now he doesn't, so he doesn't have that excuse anymore. Although his wide receiver group has taken a hit over the past couple of seasons, he doesn't have Eckler anymore. I don't know. I mean, Harbaugh's probably going to run the ball a bit more there anyway, and maybe that makes Herbert a better quarterback. We'll see.
And
A
guess
lot
who
of people
wasn't?
don't want to put Stroud up. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
I'm sorry, I just noticed. Guess who else wasn't in my top 5?
I noticed. Yes.
I did that on purpose too.
Okay. Look, I mean, top 5s, right? Everybody has their opinion. I mean, the name you left out, I mean, doesn't bother me that you left it out, but we know how some people are. They'll think it's blasphemous to do so. It is what it is. Stroud is somebody who I think I would put up there. Some will say, "Oh, it's premature. It's only been 1 year." I know, but like, I'm sure you would agree with this. What we saw in that 1 year is something that we feel like can definitely translate into not only what he will probably be this year, but that might be the floor for what he is this year. He could very well be a better quarterback this year. So,
He has a better team around him.
exactly. Yeah, that's a great point. They have made some smart moves to build around him. What you're supposed to do in their rookie contract window, those are like 5 free years to put as much around them and try to be successful. So I definitely agree with that as well. Well, I guess let's look at our wild card teams in the AFC.
So as far as the AFC East is concerned, of course. Hi, resident Lamar Jackson don't like her.
Yeah,
Apparently, I'm a hater for being critical
that's okay.
on people, which is
I'm the resident Lamar Jackson hater on like other shows, so I'm in that boat with you. It's all good.
anyway. To my wild card teams, the Ravens will make a wild card.
Okay.
Now, between the Bills and the Dolphins, whoever doesn't win a division, the other one's getting the wild card. They're getting a wild
Okay.
card. And I really want to be a homer and say my Titans will perform a little bit better and get a wild card spot.
Why not?
I think the offense in Pittsburgh is going to struggle a little bit because Arthur Smith is Arthur Smith. Good luck with that, Pittsburgh. I don't know what the Browns are. They could
Yeah.
be very well something to watch. The Chargers could be something to watch as well. So I'm like, those are my 3 picks, but I also have some other teams that I could put in there as well.
Okay, so who is the third team you're settling on?
I said Ravens.
You said the Bills, Dolphins, loser. So I put Bills because you did say the Dolphins. This should
Yeah,
be
so
their chance
Ravens,
to win the
Bills.
division.
I have Ravens, Bills, Titans.
Okay, I like that.
I might be a little biased, but it is what it is.
I feel like if you pick your team to be the third wildcard team, I can't say that's a biased thing. Like if you were biased, you probably would have picked them to win the division. Third wildcard team seems reasonable. I mean, Anthony says that's a homer pick. I mean, third wildcard team can't be not. Actually, I can't say that. Like, if you're a Cardinals fan and you're like, Cardinals are a wildcard team, everybody would be like, that's clearly a homer pick.
Look,
But look, we've
my
talked
big
about it
pick is
before. Titans have done a lot that maybe people have missed out on. So if they if they put it all together and became a wildcard team, I don't think that's a homer pick. But Anthony thinks it is one. So defend your Titans to Anthony. I'll give you the floor here.
Because theoretically speaking, who's in the best? Who is in the in the AFC South? Anthony, who do you think would be the best to finish second? Because we all know Houston is going to win a division. Do you think it's going to be inconsistent Trevor Lawrence? DeAndre Hopkins will be back by week 1. He'll be fine. He will be back by week 1. And not even just DeAndre Hopkins I got. Calvin Ridley on the other side. I have Tyler Boyd. Can't forget about him.
Mm-hmm.
And the right side of my offensive line finally knows how to block.
You said maybe the
Oh,
Colts.
hell no. No. No, 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 no. No, 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 no. Because, no. My wide receiver room better than that. I got more depth better than that. The Colts need everybody to stay healthy. I watched one of their preseason games for their backups and like third stringers. If DeForest Buckner gets hurt or Big Grover gets hurt, they are screwed because they can't rush the passer. They can't stop the run. In their secondary, if their corners get hurt, they're screwed because they're vulnerable. They better keep everybody healthy this year. And Anthony Richardson did not look impressive. My quarterback is better. Period. I like more from what I saw in 8 games of
Mm-hmm.
Will Levis than in 4 games of Anthony Richardson. I saw a lot of what I saw at Florida, which is, man.
Right.
And they built that team. We're not finna sit here and discredit my team. Like they didn't build the team around Levis getting the stuff, the offensive weapons, and building up that offensive line so that he can better operate. Do I
Yeah,
need
'cause
to
I went
talk
back
about
to
defense?
yeah, as
Because
you
I
do
can
that, because
go getting on the defense.
I went back to Anthony's predictions. Basically, the only difference is he has the Jets as a playoff team, and you have the Titans. So I don't know if that's maybe his biggest gripe is you picking the Titans over the Jets. But yeah, talk about your defense. Go ahead.
Like, do we like? First of all,
Why is this the antidote that everybody comes with? The
that's
mayonnaise
why I'm
house
not
of
paying
Jets.
that crap no mind. Because let's see about the defense.
Okay.
We went and got a Woozier.
Mm-hmm.
We went and got L'Jarius Sneed. We drafted Tavondre Sweat. That's gonna be a name you're gonna look out for because he's big and he's fast, and you can't just double. Now you just can't double team Jeffrey Simmons without worrying about Tavondre Sweat. You can't double team both of them. That's a problem for everybody's offensive line. And then Arden Key don't get suspended. He's not suspended. He
Nope.
won his appeal. What's his face? I do like the fact that they went and got veteran safeties. We just signed Quandre Diggs. The Jamal Adams, I gotta see him on the field a little bit to even gauge that. Y'all know how I feel about Jamal Adams. Um, but I like where the direction of I like the thought. I see the vision. I'm like it's very plausible that my team could etch out 10 wins. And that fact that my defense loves Denard Wilson, my offensive line and Bill Callahan, they love each other as well. Clearly, because he done whipped it right into shape. It's not surprising if my team would etch out a 10-win season and get a wild card. I don't think it's very. And the fact that we have a top 10 easy schedule, the Colts don't have that.
I mean, it's a pretty good case. Pretty good case for your squad. Uh, I mean, look, I agree that the Titans have done really well with their roster building, and if their biggest issue, which I know a lot of people have, is Will Levis, you have to think about it. Second year in, I feel like as long as he doesn't turn the ball over and get careless with it, you have to figure that they're going to be pretty competitive this year.
And it's hard
So
to
just
do that when you're throwing to Calvin Ridley and DeAndre Hopkins
and Tyler Boyd.
and Tyler Boyd. It's hard to do that.
Yeah.
And if you
And
have ample amount of protection, he'll be fine. He just needs to protect himself a little bit. I know he's a tough guy. He's a meathead. Quit taking unnecessary hits.
yeah, you could throw it to Pollard out of the backfield too.
And I forgot about the rushing attack. See? That's how balanced this whole team is. Because then you have Tajay Spears and Tony Pollard. And it's not like a running back one and a running back two dynamic. They're both running back one material. You could put both of them at the first spot. First or second. I don't trust Jacksonville. And I look, and if people start getting hurt, I trust the depth that I have on my squad more than I have on the Colts. I've seen it happen. Even with the preseason games that I've watched with my Titans, with the backups and rookies. I like what I have more than the Colts. First or second.
Okay. So, well, okay. So I'm assuming do you have Texans one or Titans one, and then the other one be two? Which I don't think that's. Yeah, I probably would agree with that. I mean, Anthony, you asked the question: how would you rank the defenses in the division? I'm kind of interested to hear what you think now, because you asked the question. I am intrigued with where you have them. Like while you're probably typing that in, I'll just give you my wild card teams. So I have the Jets as a wild card team. I'm thinking more about their defense being able to probably replicate what they did last year. I'm gonna assume Aaron Rodgers plays more than 4 snaps this year. But even if you were to go down, I would have more faith in Tyrod Taylor this year winning games than Zach Wilson last year. So I think between the two of them, they could come up with enough to be a wild card team. I have the Bengals as a wild card team. Would love to see them win the division, but I think at worst they have to be a wild card team. And then my third wild card team, I actually did put the Titans in there. And the teams I was wrestling with were the Browns, because look, I've kind of been on the Browns bandwagon for like 2 years, but now I'm at the point
I hate
where I don't know which Deshaun Watson it is anymore. Like I know Nick Chubb's going to come back, and they're probably going to rely on the running game again. But if Deshaun Watson cannot be an efficient quarterback, what does it all matter? And they have a really good defense too, which is crazy. Like Deshaun Watson just needs to be like just be Kirk Cousins, and the Browns are a playoff team. I don't even know if he can do that, to be honest with you. So because of that, I couldn't put them in there and feel good about it. I thought about the Steelers as well, because look, I root for Russell Wilson, I root for Justin Fields, I like Mike Tomlin. But if any part of this preseason is any indication of what that team's going to look like, yeah, Pittsburgh, you guys may be pulling your hair out by midseason.
right, Anthony. Right. I like when people admit that I'm right. Thank you for that.
I mean, that's what it seems like he's doing. um, yes, I thought about the Steelers, but I mean, maybe I'm reading too much into the preseason, but Russ and Fields have struggled, and I think that may continue into the regular season. Outside of that, I thought about the Chargers as well, but I just don't know what Harbaugh and his staff, you know, Herbert, yeah, Quentin Johnson as your number one. He's had drop issues. If he fixes that, then maybe I'd feel better about them as well. So once I started going through kind of like the NFC, canceling out some teams, I feel like the Titans are a team that can get there. And look, even with all the questions about Pittsburgh, I had questions about them last year. They had Kenny Pickett. Between Fields and Russ, they should be better at that position than Kenny Pickett, and they still were a playoff team. So they probably find a way to get into the conversation. I wouldn't be surprised if the Titans get it off of a tiebreaker or something over the Steelers, but I think the Titans get in there as a third wild card. I think Justin Fields will start this season in the back end of the season. All right, so you're thinking Russ starts the first half, and then I don't know when their bye week is, but then Justin Fields comes in. I mean, I guess I could see that. I could also
They,
see them being really weird and like playing both of them all season, just change of pace type of stuff. I wouldn't be surprised if they did that either.
look, they got Arthur Smith as an offensive coordinator. Good luck with that. He'll get you your he'll make George Pickens look really good. And if both, I know this for experience, if both Russell and Justin Fields could take care of the football and
Mm-hmm.
actually get it to the receivers on time, and then Arthur Smith likes to be able to run the ball as well. If they can manage those effectively and not turn the football over, I feel like the Steelers could be fine. But I don't, from what I've seen, especially with Justin Fields, seeing him, watching him is like watching what he was doing in Chicago at the same time. At what point is it not the offensive line's fault? Can we stop blaming the offensive line? It is not the people that he's throwing it to either.
Yeah,
His
he does have a
awareness
habit
is
of
better.
holding the ball and trying to. He tries to go for the big play too much.
Yeah, instead of just taking what the defense gives you.
Yeah.
Like that's what makes the great ones great. They can do the downfield razzle dazzle clutch time stuff, but they are also not hesitant to just take what the defense gives them.
Mm-hmm.
Lamar just had to throw my little shot in there because he struggles with that crap too. That's what
Mm-hmm.
makes him. That's just what makes me mad about him. And when he struggles with that, it's usually in a playoff game,
Right. The absolute worst
not
times.
the
Yeah.
regular. It's in a playoff game. So, and I really hope that somehow the Ravens take a massive backslide and they don't even make the playoffs. I really want that to happen. Because when are the Ravens and their fan base is going to look at what the actual issue is in Baltimore? The coach. Look,
Yeah. I wonder that too. Like, what does it take for fans or whatever to start questioning Harbaugh? Maybe it's the fact that Jim is now back in the league. And if Jim turns the Chargers into a winner, Ravens fans might start looking at John and go, so if he's doing it out there, why isn't John doing it here when the Ravens are going to have a good defense yet again? The rushing attack should be improved over the fact that, you got Dobbins and Edwards. Dobbins, unfortunately, gets hurt every year. Derrick Henry, pretty durable. So between he, Lamar, the running game should be good. But the question's always going to be outside of Mark Andrews. I know Zay Flowers had a pretty good year last year, but we'll just say outside of those two, if those two are locked up, can Lamar find Bateman and Aguilar and whoever consistently? And a lot of times those guys are outside the numbers, down the field. Can he make those throws consistently? Because I've said it before, which is why, like you, I'm on the Lamar Jackson hater island. But it's like, if he became a quarterback who could throw outside the numbers, like that's the last thing that defenses would then kind of throw their hands up in the air and probably would start guessing on how to, defend against them. If you play coverage, he'll run on you. You play the run, and if he can throw over the top of that, then yeah, you feel helpless. But until he does that, you're going to get more performances like the Chiefs playoff game. Like Anthony said, yes. Like that was literally what the Chiefs did. They came out early and they played it kind of straight up, and then they're like, this dude's not hitting any of these throws. So we're literally going to play him to scramble and run, force him to throw outside the numbers, and Lamar was horrific. And I think teams are going to copy that this year.
Mhm.
At least the
They
smart
know how to
ones will.
stop them now, and that's where I
The
feel
smart
like
ones do.
the good ones know how to stop
Yeah.
them now, and I feel like that's why I feel like Baltimore really blew it, because now
Yeah.
you done gave everybody. Chiefs done pretty much gave everybody the key to stopping Lamar. Make
Mm-hmm.
him throw it. Even though I've been saying that for years. Just like the 49ers had pretty much, after the 49ers demolished the Cowboys and made Michael look silly, the key was you don't block him. And what happened? You run right at
Yeah.
him. So I'm like, once you start giving opponents who are really trying to figure out how to beat you, the key to beating you, good ones who are capable of doing it, it's a wrap.
Mm-hmm.
It'll get harder and harder each year.
Yep. Yeah. And look, in that division, Pittsburgh knows how to play defense. And I just said Cleveland's going to have a really good defense. That's 4 games right there that Lamar's going to struggle, probably, once again. Because another thing that like teams like to do is they like to get blitz happy and then they get like undisciplined in their blitz and leave wide open running lanes for them. Like I see that every Sunday from well not every Sunday but like actually yeah like a couple of times every Sunday you'll see that and I'll just be sitting there like why make it easy for him? A lot of times Lamar drops back, he's perfectly okay running and scrambling. But if you do what the Chiefs did with you rush 4 guys, they stay disciplined, keep them in the pocket. Yeah, you get what you get in the playoffs. He was all over the place. Signing Derrick Henry was a wake up call. Ravens going to run 80% of the time, stop the run.
Oh yeah,
I mean, yeah.
yeah.
I mean, look, Lamar threw for like 3,500 yards last year. That was like 17th in the league. So they were already a run first kind of team anyway. But yeah, but Derrick Henry, absolutely.
And Ravens fans act like that's supposed to be magic tape.
Yeah.
Lamar gets injured, y'all are screwed. Um, Matabuke, if something happens to him, y'all are screwed. If something keeps happening to Marlon Humphrey, y'all are screwed. Like, come on.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, like Humphrey.
The
Yeah.
whole
I feel like,
quarterback room is injury prone. They don't want to admit that.
but I also feel like even with Marlon Humphrey, what helps him is their front seven was so good.
Right.
I've seen I've seen quarterbacks throw on him and have success on him. That's why I'm like when I look at the secondary, I'm more of a Kyle Hamilton guy. I think he's the better guy back there, even though Ravens
He
fans
is.
love throwing Humphrey in your face, and they like Hamilton as well. But I think Humphrey gets a lot of benefit from the front seven, and I know most teams' defense works that way. But I feel like even like I think it was that Dolphins game when they had like the big comeback. I feel like they made plays on Humphrey. Like if you can stop the front seven, you can go at him at times. He's not like Darrell Revis when quarterbacks literally wouldn't throw his way or like a Steph Gilmore or something like that. You can throw at Humphrey and have success. Just gotta be smart about it. Hamilton on the other end, he covers up a lot in the back end, and if you aren't careful, he will definitely get you. I kind of want to see what the Patrick Queen loss, if that's any big deal for them.
Mm-hmm.
Ravens fans act like it's not because they wanted him gone like last year. There was the rumors that they might have moved him last year. So now that he's gone, they're all like, oh, whatever. But I don't know.
Geno Stone, that one's might hurt a little bit too.
Yep.
And their coaches.
Re-signing Rashad Bateman was a head scratch. Like, why? I guess why not? Like, look, they have Aguilar on the team. Like, why
Look,
not re-sign Bateman?
that's why I feel like they might lose more games than expected because when you have Aguilar on your team, he is not guaranteed to catch everything that you throw at him. And the one that he do drop will be at a critical moment. where you don't
Hmm.
need him dropping it at.
Yeah. I mean, look, Eagles fans know. I know the one season he was in New England, he would make like a random tough catch and then drop the easiest one after that, and you'll just be like, "How's this possible?" And yeah, so Baltimore, I mean, they went through it last year, but yeah, you're just he'll make a play and you'll be like, "All right, this guy's pretty good," and then yeah, he'll drop one and you'll want him off the team. Bateman, I can ask the question: has he been put in a position to succeed with kind of what Jory and I have been talking about with the Lamar Jackson effect?
No, he has
Bateman
not.
seems like a outside the number type of guy. So I have to think some of the reason for his numbers not being there has to be Lamar. Look, they signed Odell Beckham last year, even though Jory and I were like, for what reason? And look at the year he had. He had maybe one play you probably remember. Other than that, what did he really do?
Dance on the sidelines and be entertainment
Right.
and
There's a reason
choreograph
why,
touchdown dances.
because that I mean that's what he does now. He's a big dancer, even when it's not even his touchdown. Which whatever. I mean he's in Miami now, right?
Good luck to them with that.
Well, he'll probably be doing the Waddle penguin dance a lot. Celebrating with him. I'm sure he'll be doing a lot of that.
Because he won't be
But
seeing the field very much.
yeah, I find it hard. Yeah, I find it hard to think that he will. But I mean, look at the Ravens numbers last year. Like Mark Andrews is obviously going to be a number one target. There's a reason why Zay Flowers had a pretty good rookie season because he operates over the middle a lot. That's where Lamar is comfortable. I mean, Zay Flowers can operate a little bit on the outside, but a lot of his plays he made last year were over the middle. Those are the types of receivers that Lamar is comfortable throwing to. Aguilar, Bateman, those type of guys, they are most of the time strictly outside the numbers, going down the field.
This is the
So I
same
wouldn't
team
want I wouldn't give
that
up on
Hollywood
Bateman.
Brown
Oh,
and then had
say it
to
again.
ship him. I said this is the same team that drafted Hollywood Brown, I believe, and had to ship him out because they
Yep.
weren't using him to his fullest potential because fooling around with Lamar, who struggles outside the numbers, but according to his fan base and the people who just like to breathe the air that he breathes, just want to act like when you say that it's a critic. You don't know what you're talking about. You're just being critical. No, 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 no. It's time and time again, especially in playoff games. You make him throw the ball more than 40, more than 30 times. You're gonna have a long day.
Yeah.
Like,
I
look,
mean, yeah. It's a good point. I mean, we've been, I guess, getting on the Ravens a bit much. I know,
I could do this
but I
all
did want
day.
to throw. I mean, I could too. It's not that difficult to critique Lamar, but I did want to throw a question at you because I was trying to think if we should say this like for another week, but Anthony did throw out there if Josh Allen got the Bills to the playoffs, he should get MVP. So looking at the teams that you picked to make the playoffs, does that shape kind of who you have as like a MVP front runner right now?
I'd have Mahomes. I do have Jalen Hurts playing a lot better than he did last year. Look,
Mm-hmm.
coaching is everything. He had
True.
two incompetent coaches, position coaches. One who directly affected him, and
Mm-hmm.
one who directly affected how much he had to see the field because the defense couldn't stop Jack.
Yeah.
So I feel like he'll play better, but I can't really gauge that until I see him play. I'm not there with Dak Prescott. He'll have a phenomenal regular season, but look, he is what he is.
Mm-hmm.
Look, they give him another one. If they give him another MVP and he don't do jack in the playoffs,
Yeah.
He will go out. He will start the overrated regular season quarterback conversations on my end. Even though I'm already
that
halfway.
would be wild if he got like a third MVP, only two postseason wins. Like that would be hilarious.
Look, that's where I am with him. He gets to show it. But I know MVP's a regular season award, so I wouldn't be surprised if he was up for another one. I wouldn't be surprised if Dak may have made one. I feel like Brock Purdy should get some more love because I know Kyle Shanahan is the
Mm-hmm.
brain, but at the same time, Brock can ball. Two things can be true.
Mm-hmm.
He's a quality quarterback. Um, so I'm like to my two early picks will be Mahomes, Lamar, and it pains me to say that. It pains me to say that. Purdy, dark horse, Jalen. Now, if
Okay.
where I am with Josh Allen is it's not even just the Bills making the playoffs. Can you beat the Chiefs in the playoffs? And even then, MVP is a regular season award. I don't think
Mm-hmm.
they have enough to even win that many games in the regular season right now. They've been
Yeah.
hit by the cap demon. They are in cap hell. So good luck. And they play in a division with good defenses, minus Miami's when it gets minus 40 degrees. When it gets less than 50 degrees, the defense don't want to tackle for none, and they get
Mm-hmm.
soft. Even with Bradley Chubb.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, look, I definitely agree with a lot of that. I will say my probably too early MVP pick, which maybe we might revisit this maybe before the season. So we have like 2 weeks or something before the season starts. Maybe before that we might do MVP picks, like the official one. But I think mine right now would be CJ Stroud. I feel like he's got a lot of heat behind his name from last year. I think because of where Houston came from not too long ago, where they were like the laughing stock, the most dysfunctional team, to now where they look like a very stable team with a clear direction under D'Amico Ryans, the moves that they're making with all these young players in the past few drafts. Stroud's going to put up big numbers with Diggs, Collins, Tank Dell. I feel like he's probably my front runner. My dark horse pick was going to be Brock Purdy, even though he probably shouldn't be a dark horse pick. But there's still a lot of people that try to diminish what he's done. Because, like you said, it's, Shanahan could do that with any number of quarterbacks. Well, I mean, Garoppolo had a successful run. Trey Lance couldn't. Trey Lance got hurt the one opportunity that he really had. But Brock Purdy, like the story is there. The man was Mr. Irrelevant. As much as people have doubted him and questioned him, he's been the starting quarterback on a team that's been a constant contender since he started playing. So at some point, he should get something for that. Now, like I said, he's my dark horse only because I could see, I don't know, like a Jordan Love putting together an MVP type of season. I feel like it kind of is easy to forget about Jordan Love, and that might be a situation of the quarterback position as a whole in the NFL is kind of in a good spot where a lot of these young quarterbacks, seem like they're going to be pretty good for the next few years. So I do think that kind of goes with potentially forgetting a Jordan Love or, CJ Stroud. I don't think people forget necessarily, but yeah, I don't know. It's gonna be. I think it'll be an interesting race. I think Mahomes will put up numbers, but Mahomes is kind of to the point where people have Mahomes fatigue.
I'm there.
I mean,
I'm
unfortunately,
100% there.
yeah,
I don't know which one was
and it makes
was
sense.
worse. This Mahomes and the Chiefs fatigue or my Patriots fatigue? Because I got tired of them too. I'm sorry, Kyle. I was tired.
No, look, I knew it when it was happening. Like people were tired of them, and that's like in all sports. Like there were people who got tired of the um,
Lakers.
Lakers, Shaq and Kobe. They got tired of Curry and the Warriors. They got tired of Jordan and the Bulls. They got tired of like every great team at a certain point. People get tired of seeing them being great because the argument always becomes, I want to see somebody new up there, or it's not. They're making the league unwatchable because you already know they're going to be the winner at the end.
Like me and
So,
Tom Brady. I I promise you, when Tom Brady retired, I was like whoop de whoop. Because I'm like, he was drafted the year I was born. All I've
mm-hmm,
known is Tom Brady. I got
yeah,
tired of seeing him for 23 years. But I can't sit here and ignore the greatness that he is. I just got tired of looking at him.
right.
I'm like, will y'all give somebody else a chance? Come on.
I mean, it's like I said, it's definitely understandable. I mean, look, especially somebody who was in Boston, moved to Atlanta. Like once 28-3 happened, like that whole aspect of I did not mean to bring that up as a shot at Atlanta necessarily, because look, I'm a Matt Ryan fan. I wished Matt Ryan could have won that Super Bowl
He
because I
deserved
always thought he
that
was
role.
he was
He
always
played
disrespected
well.
down here. Yeah, like exactly, and they pinned it like on him, like he was the reason why they lost. It
Like
was like
Kyle
no,
Shanahan and Dan Quinn didn't just choke the life out of him.
exactly.
All
Like
they
I
had to
watched
do was
that
run the ball.
exactly. They got too cute with it. Because I remember watching the game, and when Julio Jones made the crazy catch on the sideline, I was like, okay, clearly Atlanta's supposed to win this game, and we all know what happened there. But, um, but yeah, I mean, look, that's our predictions for the bracket. Like I said, after we finish up here, I will post our predictions, put it up on our blog, which I actually, was prepared this week. The Passion and Precision podcast blog, which you can find on Tumblr. It's in the description. So I'll, post it on there. I'll, post it on Facebook as well, and maybe some other places. So uh, if you missed out on who we predicted, I'll put it up there and you can kind of let us know who you agree with. I feel like that'll be a nice little fun exercise to see, if people do react to it. So Anthony, look out for it. Key and others, and definitely let us know who you do agree with, and also you can go ahead and over to Tumblr and follow our blog because we have a few articles up there. But I mean, that's kind of all I had. I mean, all we have for this week because, like I said, I don't want to go like too much into the predictions this week because we still have a couple more weeks before the season starts. So we did touch a little bit on MVP. I'm trying to think of next week we could predict. I don't even know. We'll figure out something. Kind of. Well, okay. I'll tease it this way because you did do an article on there about surprise teams and teams that could disappoint. So we might do that next week where we'll look at maybe surprises next week and disappointments the week after or something like that. We'll figure out a way to keep going with the predictions. I do think it's a fun exercise to really engage in. But I mean, sure, you got anything you want to add, plug, whatever?
No, you guys know where to find me. Life has been life, but I'm gonna get this video out within the next 2 days. So surprise! Just go follow me on Joy Sports Stories on Facebook, YouTube as well. And yeah, that's about it. I'm not gonna tell you what I'm not telling what the video is. You have to watch it to find out.
I mean, that's the tease right there. That's the tease. You got to tune in and check it out. Like I said, if you haven't seen it before, Jory is very good over there. She gives you her rants and everything like that. Like I said, the same energy you kind of get on here, you get it over there with her. So make sure you do follow her on Jory Sports Stories. I mean, for me, I believe we're gonna do our baseball show later today. So I actually will be back on here probably for Bases Loaded because the MLB season is definitely
The
heating
Braves
up.
getting on my nerve. My last nerve. My lord. They should have did something more at the trade deadline. What the hell are they doing? What do they got going on? Figure it out.
See, we should have put that on the docket this week. I believe we have a few minutes here if you want to talk Braves. Sure.
I don't know what they're
Look,
doing. Do you know what they're doing?
whenever I watch them, it just seems like they are just trying to survive at this point.
They're
Because, like you
floundering.
said, right, and it's gonna make it easy for a lot of Braves fans to ask the question, why not go after an arm during the trade deadline? Go get another bat because the lineup it's depleted. I mean, look, they got Soler. Soler's hurt. Like that's just the theme of this season for the Braves: injuries. And for a lot of teams, it's hard to overcome that. I mean, even the Braves, with as well run as their system is, and all the young players that they have, at a certain point,
The injury bug just don't let you go. Like
yeah,
I'm just over it. I'm tired because when they go on this little streak, you make me think like
hmm
everything is gonna be okay and everything's been fixed, and then they start losing winnable games against teams that they should beat.
hmm I mean, look,
Over.
well, I mean, look, they are a wild card team. They have a 2 game cushion on the Mets, so it could be a
At
lot
least we're
worse.
beating the Mets. That's the goal.
Yeah,
Let's be positive here. We're ahead of the Mets. Now, I really when we fell in the standings and the Mets were above us, I had a conniption fit. I had a conniption. I'm like, oh no.
yeah. Look. I mean, as like I said, new to Braves country. Even though when I was in Boston, I got Braves games all the time, so I watched them a lot. Like I liked the whole Chipper Jones and Andrew Jones and guys like that. So I was kind of like always a secondary Braves fan because I just saw them so much. And now being down here, obviously I pay attention to them a lot. Even though I am a Red Sox fan, and Anthony, I see what you did there, bringing up Gunnar Henderson. Yeah, I saw you hit home runs. It's all right. My Red Sox bullpen gave him up because the pitching staff is a hot mess right now. Outside of a few people, but especially the bullpen, I don't know how Alex Cora is making it work right now. But yes, Gunnar Henderson. Yeah. Oh, I'm not even mad at it. I like the Orioles. So I can't even fake being mad at them. As long as it's
You'd
not the
rather
Yankees,
lose to the
I don't care.
Orioles than the Yankees.
You what?
You'd rather lose to the Orioles than the Yankees.
Yeah. I, anybody but the Yankees at this point.
And I'm about
Like,
tired of it too.
yeah, there's good reason to because now it's bad enough we had to hear 27 championships. Now it's Aaron Judge hitting 300th home run and all that, and it's like, okay,
Making history and da 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 da. Make history in the
yeah,
postseason and
win a
shut
World
up.
Series, win a World Series, and then I'll
Look,
actually
I'm tired.
care about Yankee talk. Till then, the Royals have no, yeah, the Royals have a World Series since you last got one, and that's the Royals. Come on, yeah, I think Atlanta is. It seems like they're in this like survival mode, like just get to the playoffs because we saw last year the Diamondbacks were the last team to get in. Nobody thought about them doing anything. They made the World Series. The Texas Rangers, were a wild card team last year and won the World Series. So I think if you're the Braves, you're looking at that. If all it takes is, scrapping together lineups, hoping, Olsen turns it around at the plate. I know Albies is hurt as well. If you can get Albies, Soler, some of these guys back, now your lineup looks a lot different. And if you get into the postseason with a lineup like that, you can do some damage.
I knew it
Chris
was
Sale
some
has.
crap. As I knew
You
it
know
was
what?
gonna be
Oh, Soler.
crap after Acuna went down. I said, ugh. At least Chris
Yeah,
Sale is doing well. At least Sale is doing well. I really can't complain about that. Even though we gave up 10 runs to what it was. I'm like, what is going on right here? Like, when do we give up 10 runs? That was new.
Mm-hmm.
Because I'm like, what?
Well, look, I mean, recently they took 3 out of 4 from the Giants. They took 2 out of 3 from the Angels. They have 3 against the Phillies next. That's a big series. Then you get the Nationals, the Twins, and then another Phillies series to end August. So look, you got
Do we
6
play the
games against the
Yankees in
Phillies.
September?
Hmm?
Do we play the Yankees in September? Because I really want us to beat them. Because I know we've already beat them once this year.
September, you do not.
Darn it.
It's Phillies, Rockies, Blue Jays. Got a makeup game against the Reds, Nationals, Dodgers, Reds, Marlins, Mets, Royals. Look, you got the Mets last week of the season. That series maybe to decide a
Determined.
wild card. And by then, the Braves could be a little more healthy. So it's not the end of the world for a Braves fan just yet.
They
Because I
should have
do think
done
that
more
they
trade deadline.
yeah, I mean, I think a lot of teams are thinking that, and I think that might have been the problem with the trade deadline was so many teams thought that they were in it, that they were all bidding on the same guys, and obviously somebody's just going to lose out on certain players. And some teams, because of that, didn't make players available because they thought they had a chance. So it was a tough kind of trade deadline for a lot of teams. A lot of teams feel like they could have done more. But I mean, we'll see where the Braves are next week.
They need
And
to
look, if
figure
you,
it out.
I mean, look, by next week they could be 5 games up on the Mets in the wild card and seem like they're going to make it. Who knows? But
They need
we'll
to
see.
figure it out.
Yeah, yeah.
And
I
stop
mean,
making it so stressful. Like when you
look,
know you're better, when I know they're better than this, it's
mhm,
just like what?
yeah, I get it. It's like it's the bad part of 162 games in the baseball season because there's just so many opportunities for you to go up and down on the roller coaster with your team. You'll feel great about them for 2 weeks. You'll hate them for a week. Then you'll love them for a week. You'll hate them for 2 weeks. Then you might go on a 3 week run where you're just over the moon, and then they come crashing down for a week and a half, and you're like, this is too much. So,
And see, I don't do that in football. Like, even though, yes, my Titans definitely stress me out, especially when I know it's one position that's messing up my entire offense. I'm talking
mhm,
about Andre Dillard because he
yeah,
single handedly messed
mhm,
up a few games. That right
yeah.
there, and that's the type of playing with your emotions I don't wish on anybody.
Yes, I and look, as a Patriots fan who's seen offensive line play can be a big issue. Yes, I know exactly where you're coming from. Actually, I think that might be something we'll do probably opening week of the NFL. Give our best and worst case scenarios for our teams. I'm sure if you paid attention or watching, you understand Jory's a Titans fan. I'm a Patriots fan. So we might have to say that for right before the season. Best and worst case scenarios for your Titans and my Patriots, who happen to meet each other this year. So that will obviously be interesting as well. I can only imagine what the week of that game on here may go like, and the week after. It would be interesting.
You're not a
Uh,
Ravens fan, so I wouldn't brag too much.
I mean, okay, I can appreciate that.
I'd spare you. Now, anybody else? Now, my uncle, who is also a Patriots fan, I'm not sparing him. He gonna hear
I,
from it in my text messages. He's gonna hear it. Not just a paragraph. I might send him a voice message or two.
I get it. I get it. But yeah, so we'll see how that goes. Look, we're both just excited that the NFL season is so close. It's going to definitely bring a lot of topics and all that for our show going forward once the season starts. But since I mean you got your moment to talk to your Braves, you plugged Jory Sports Stories, which once again, if you forgot, make sure you go over there and give Jory a follow. You can find me chomping at the bit. Find me on YouTube or wherever. If you like the audio version, it's out there. I believe on most of the major ones. Jory is out there as well, audio wise. So, yeah. Normally we do come on Friday, but this week, as Jory said, life happened, so we moved it to Sunday. So hopefully next week we're back with you Friday. So make sure you come back, join us as well. Get in the comments and interact with us because we do love that aspect of this. So until next week, for Jory and myself, this is Passion and Precision. Enjoy the rest of your night and your weekend. We're out of here. See you all.